Driving next to stopped or parked vehicles and pedestrians. You must learn to adjust your distance and speed in respect to other traffic participants. You should especially pay attention to the children and the elderly. You also have to learn the traffic signs and markings on the road. In this situation, you must stop. Start again when there is sufficient room to pass. The most common type of traffic accidents is when one vehicle crashes into another vehicle that has stopped or is parked on the right-hand side, but sometimes on the left-hand side as well. A lot of accidents occur when the stopped or parked vehicle starts and then crashes into the vehicle that is behind it. Accidents also happen when a vehicle crashes into a pedestrian who is stepping on the road while slightly hidden between parked vehicles. These are often children or the elderly. Risk factors. Speed that is too high or insufficient distance from the stopped or parked vehicles. Children or the elderly that are carelessly stepping onto the road between parked vehicles. Impulsive behavior of children in the proximity of roads, especially when in company of other children. Bicycles and scooters that, when moving, swing and skid to a side. You must notice, estimate and react to the following possible dangers when passing stopped or parked vehicles and pedestrians. Reduced visibility of the road due to parked vehicles. Signs that help you identify a parked vehicle that is moving, for example, smoke from the exhaust pipe, a blinking indicator or stoplights, etc. Also, pay attention to the cyclists that are getting ready to start. Children on the road. Horses or other animals on the road. Roadworks. Pedestrians on pedestrian crossing. School traffic patrol. Pedestrian crossing marks the part of the road that is intended for pedestrians crossing across the road. Sometimes it is hard to notice a pedestrian. In this situation, you must brake and give way to the lady with the dog.
You are driving in a built-up area. Will you continue driving at the same speed or slow down? If there are no pedestrians and the road overview is good, continue driving at the same speed. It would be wrong to slow down.
Traffic signs. Pedestrian crossing warns that the pedestrian crossing is in proximity. Cyclists warn that cyclists or scooters ride across the road or crossing it. Children warns that there are children pedestrians in vicinity of schools, kindergartens, playgrounds, etc. Equestrians warns that there are equestrians on the road. Wild animals on the road. Roadworks. Among other things, the sign warns that there are workers on the road. Pedestrian crossing. This sign is placed not far from the pedestrian crossing. School bus. This sign is placed on school buses that drive children to school or to excursions. In case the lights are blinking on the sign, it means that the school children are crossing the street. You must timely examine and assess the traffic situation when passing parked or stopped vehicles. Do not pay attention only to the parked or stopped vehicles, but continue looking further forward in order to notice potential surprising obstacles on the road. Pay attention to vehicles from the opposite direction that can suddenly appear. Observe the traffic situation behind using your rearview mirrors after you have passed a stopped car in case you want to return back to your lane. Check the blind spots by looking over your shoulder. Pay attention to the pedestrians and other traffic participants that plan to cross the street over a pedestrian crossing or beyond a pedestrian crossing.
You are driving at the speed of 40 kilometers per hour. Will you continue driving at the same speed or apply the brakes and stop before the pedestrian crossing? You have to wait for the pedestrians crossing the street.
Pay attention to the school traffic patrol that takes the students across the street. While driving past parked vehicles, you must timely reduce the speed in order to safely carry out the maneuver. Come to a complete stop in order to give way to the bus that has blinker on and is leaving the bus stop.
Checkpoint. Take a pencil and a piece of paper. You are driving at the speed of 20 kilometers per hour. How will you continue? I will pay special attention to the bus on my right side. I will brake and stop to let the bus go first. I will speed up. The bus doors have just been closed, but the driver didn't turn on the indicators, so you don't need to slow down. You have to speed up because the light changed to green.
Give way to the vehicles that are coming from the opposite direction in case you do not have adequate room to safely pass each other. Timely take on the position to overtake the stopped vehicle in case you need to indicate with your blinker and be ready to brake.
Will you wait for the bus or continue straight ahead? You have to stop and let the bus go first because the driver has turned on his indicators. In the case of a road narrowing, you always have to pay special attention to the traffic coming from behind.
Provide adequate time and enough room for the pedestrians on the road without a curb so that they can move to the side. Keep adequate distance when passing them. Reduce your speed when driving on wet roads when passing past pedestrians in order not to spray them. Always keep an adequate distance when passing the other traffic participants. When you pass a stopped vehicle, return to the right lane. Reduce your speed when you are approaching a pedestrian crossing in order for the pedestrians crossing the street to be sure that you will stop and allow them to cross. In case it is necessary, give way to the pedestrians that are crossing the street even though the pedestrian red light is on. Drive slower at places where school patrols are regulating traffic and stop in case school children are crossing the street. In this situation, you are driving at a speed of 45 kilometers per hour. How will you continue? You must continue at the same speed because there is a central island. In this situation, you are driving at a speed of 45 kilometers per hour. How will you continue? You must brake and give way to the pedestrian. In this situation, you are driving at a speed of 45 kilometers per hour. How will you continue? You must pay attention to the pedestrian and cyclist. You must brake because the pedestrian is not paying attention to you. In this situation, you must brake and give way to the pedestrian, even though you have right of way. Do you need to stop before the pedestrian crossing or continue slowly straight and give way to the pedestrians? You must continue slowly straight in order to show that you will give way to the pedestrians. Remember that a lot of traffic accidents occur before or after the pedestrian crossing. This is because a lot of pedestrians cross the street beyond the crossing. In this situation, the pedestrian is standing and looking in your direction. Will you give way to the pedestrian or continue driving? You must stop and give way to the pedestrian to cross the street.
Checkpoint. Take a pencil and a piece of paper. You are driving at the speed of 40 kilometers per hour. There are no vehicles behind you. What will you do in this situation? I will speed up. I will slow down. I will keep my distance from the police officer. You have to slow down and keep an appropriate distance from the police officer. You are driving on a slip road, so it's not allowed to stop here.